Old farts. Two old farts. Steve and Dave. Sometimes you find a diamond in the rough.
Supposed to be music?
Not this time, though. This is just rough. Two old farts. There is no better waste of time.
I like it if there was music.
Two guys. Two old guys. A lot of BS and more drivel than you can shake a stick at. Steve and Dave. God help us.
That I like. I couldn't hear the music in the beginning. You know, I didn't turn my hearing aids on. So that's pretty cool stuff.
Okay.
I like it.
Okay.
Hopefully we'll see what our guests think of it.
You couldn't hear the music? The music was toned right down on it, so...
I think it muted itself, but then I heard it when I pushed another button that was proper. So people are going to hear me go, I can't hear the music. So anyway, but I like that. That's very cool. And I'm sure Mr. Roll will like it because that's all his intro. So that's pretty neat. So we have John and Roll. This is going to be fun. This is going to be this is like a year-end BS show. So this is going to be kind of cool. So there's Mr. Roll. There's Mr. John. And there we go. There is everybody. Look at this. There it is.
That
That's
was an
that's the
amazing
crew.
intro. Wow.
Yeah.
It was.
Huge
Wow.
talent.
Oh,
Huge.
wow.
The guy the voiceover on that guy's voice is worth dollars, many dollars. So yeah,
At least tens of dollars. Yeah.
tens of
Exactly.
dollars, tens of dollars.
Tens
Yes,
of
I agree.
dollars.
It was a good intro. Yeah.
Wait, David's got Roll gave us 8, so we've got a whole bunch of intros that we can do.
Oh wow.
Oh, well, I haven't put music to the other ones as yet because it took me
Okay.
most of the morning to do that one.
That one's very cool. I like your fedora. You're trying to look very dapper
Well,
for the end of the year.
The thing is that everybody told me how cool you looked because you had a hat on.
Of
So
course.
I thought I'd put a hat on as well. Just
Wow.
to be as cool as you, Stephen, for the end of the year show.
The end of the going into season 2 with Mr. Roll and John. So
yeah,
Right.
that sounds like
I've actually got some really exciting news.
You're pregnant and it's an alien baby, and we're going to sell it to the National Enquirer.
Is it a
Yeah.
human?
Well, it's quite. I'm really excited.
Okay.
It's actually something that I got. Came in on the.
You look excited. That's true.
It's dated November the 28th, so I'm quite excited about it because I've already taken action.
Wow.
You're excited. What are you excited about?
It's actually a letter from the New York Tourist Office.
Okay.
And, so here we go. It says, Dear Mr. Oldfart, it has come to our attention that a possible family member of a certain Stephen Oldfart, has been proclaiming he has financial agreement with the New York Tourist Office in which he claims he receives $1 for every time he mentions New York City. After a lengthy in-house investigation, we conclude that this is in fact pure fiction on behalf of Stephen Oldfart. The city of New York has no record of Stephen Oldfart living here, and his New York accent appears to be dubious at best, and his regular use of the statement New York baby appears to be some kind of vocal trick performed by someone who probably lives outside of the city, and it sounded to some of our staff as if it could have been from someone who was living as far away as the state of Texas.
Wow.
On a more positive note, your albeit slightly dim manner, we feel, is compensated by your cheeky, chappy British accent. And my colleagues here at the New York Tourist Office think that you, on the other hand, would be a great asset to the department, and you could help us secure even more international tourists. And would like to offer you $1 every time you mention New York City.
Wow.
And this is the most important thing because I've already acted on this. So, Steve, it's finished, mate. Here we go.
Okay.
This is from them. We have attached a document issued from our International Treasury Department based in Lagos, Nigeria, which
it's a legitimate thing.
Which now deals with such payments. And after we've received your full name, address, date of birth, and banking details, and signed paperwork, which I've already done, we will start immediately making payments to your bank account. And as a prompt signing up gift, we're going to backdate this for all the payments for November 2022. So to you, Mr. Stephen Oldfart. Finally,
that's awesome.
We will be contacting Stephen Oldfart directly to stop him saying New York, as the post of international tourist representative has now been passed on to you.
Wow, that is awesome. And I remember when my friend who actually works for the city of New York has told me that they have their financial office now in Lagos, Nigeria, because it's just easier to deal with the global community. So I wish you I see that. I wish you a lot of luck with that. Yeah, no, that's awesome. So
wow,
that is really, it's congratulations.
So it's gotta be real, right?
It's got to be kind of like, send your old money to the Queen Elizabeth to Lagos, because that's where the British Treasury is.
It's already done. It's already done. I've already sent all those details off as requested.
That is awesome. You're the best.
And so I'm just actually waiting now to see what happens, because I should get money for this.
Yeah. Well, I'm waiting to see the outcome of this too, my friend. You don't even know.
Yeah.
So this is going to be awesome. This is going to be truly.
I'm sorry, Stephen. It would appear that that nobody believes you, mate. That's
okay. I'm good. You know what? Coming out of Lagos, Nigeria, I'm good with that. Just because I know that some people in London were going to send their banknotes to the Lagos Treasury to get them swapped out. We talked about that last show. Yeah. So
that's really
I'm sure that's going to happen. Yeah, that's really awesome. That's the best.
But I thought it was really good. That they would contact me directly.
Fantastic. Well,
that is awesome. Yeah.
They obviously thought that somewhere or another we were related. So,
apparently. So
well, I mean, you can see it right away.
You can tell. Yeah. That's awesome.
Well, Dave's not wearing a hat right now, so that's it.
So now he's not cool anymore. So,
that's it. I don't know.
That's it.
I'm not
all I know with David with that hat is I want to literally just say, "Do you want some candy, little boy?" That's all I see. I can't help it. I got a van. I got a pocket.
It's funny you should say that.
Oh, here we go.
There you go.
Yeah.
But anyway, I thought I was quite chuffed with myself to think that I had acted upon this, and I thought, well, I'll wait until everything. I sent off all my bank details and a copy of the birth certificate, the whole shebang, to the Treasury Department in Lagos.
Maybe some DNA too,
and I thought, well, once that's done, I'm ready to rock and roll. So, sorry, Stephen.
That's okay, Dave. I'll survive, but I'm still saying New York and New York City because born and raised. What can I tell you?
Right.
Well, according to the tourist department, what did that? And I quote.
That's okay. I'll be in New York in about a week to 10 days, and I'll be doing the show from New York.
Said that his New York accent appears to be dubious at best. And his regular use of the statement "New York baby" appears to be some kind of vocal trick.
Yes, he has an objection.
Dave, I've never heard anybody in New York say dubious, so
Yeah, right away. That's a problem. And I never said New York baby. So there you go. Yeah. Dubious is more like West Coast. It's like, listen, you're so dubious.
Yeah.
So
dubious.
Well, I mean, guys. I've got this lead. You've seen it. It's
seen. Oh yeah. Oh no. I believe you 100%.
Yeah.
And just so you know, if you come to New York, there's a bridge John and I are going to sell you that you own. Yeah. The Brooklyn Bridge is for sale. John and I have the rights to it. We're gonna let you buy that.
Yeah.
So, don't even worry about that.
I'm going to be a rich man very soon.
You are. And a guy named Mr. Ponzi back in the late 1800s, early 90s. We read his book on how to sell the Brooklyn Bridge. So he is going to help us out.
Oh, he's the uncle of the guy who owns that FTX place.
FTX. Oh yeah, they said largest financial scandal to date in the United States.
So what happened?
$32 billion.
Well,
he's something.
I think the largest financial news is the fact that I've managed to steal money out of your wallet, Stephen. I think that's.
That's also good. But on the FTX side, the Bahamian government arrested him. The SEC has charged him. The DOJ has charged him. They said it's the largest financial scam, for lack of a better term. And it's very interesting because all these, so-called venture capital groups like Andreessen Horowitz and all these guys that put money in the Singapore government. And everyone, there's an article in the Financial Times about a week ago that anybody not do due diligence anymore. It just blows me away that people are still suckered into stuff like we talked about ZBet, Enron, MT Global.
Well-
There's the other one, the Korean kid that's running around loose as
Well,
well.
he's in Siberia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he
Yes.
said he wasn't trying to commit fraud intentionally.
Yeah, and I'm sure when you run someone down with their car, you don't
Yeah.
try to kill them either. But
Wasn't
you know, if that's
intentional.
the case, yeah.
I mean, there are some honest people out there. You know, people who see talent and react to it, and
Yeah,
know,
that's
and
not
encourage
talent.
it.
That's just literally. But this is what's really
You know.
funny. If you look at all the money that he took from people, I think they said it's 1.3 billion, not counting all the people now that are going to go bankrupt and whatever because they can't get their money out and everything's imploded. And then I just saw something yesterday at Binance had $1 billion of withdrawals because of this. Like, so
Yeah.
the crypto market is just tanking.
But
So
according to them, that was the lowest amount that's been pulled out this week on a daily basis. They said other
Yeah.
days have been heavier traffic.
But
So,
my whole point is like you have these legitimate companies or startups, but because they're not sexy, no one wants to write them a check.
But Steve,
Yeah.
isn't it weird though? I mean, everyone should have seen it coming. I mean, look at his
Yeah.
name. Bankman is fried. I mean, it was just for everyone to see. Right there, they should have. I mean, it's not like he hid anything.
Right. And he's like, yeah, I'm a fraud. I'm gonna do. There you go.
No, Bankman is fried. That's me.
Yeah.
Come
Yeah,
on,
Bank-
I thought he was called Bankman Kentucky Fried, but there you go.
There you go. Dunkin' Donuts.
Maybe he will be. Depends where the hell.
I still go back to when, not that I'm an advocate of the New York Stock Exchange or the LSE or Goldman Sachs or whatever,
New York,
but
New York, New
until
York.
legitimate. Oh, thank you very much.
It's
Until legitimate.
it's being backdated. It's being backdated.
It's all right. It's okay, Dave. You can get the money from Nigeria. Let us know how that works out in the next show. But until the New York Stock Exchange. Oh, got it again. Until the New York Stock Exchange says, okay, that's fine. Until the New York Stock Exchange says we're going to monitor this, or we're going to regulate it like a security. Then, there's no way I would put money in, because what are you going to do? What's your recourse right now? Nothing. It's gone. You know what I mean? It's like, why don't you just go to Vegas and put 10,000 on red and spin the wheel? It's the same thing. That's how I look at it. I don't know.
He donated 73 million to both political parties, which
Of course.
legally
He's not allowed to.
Those are potentially candidates for clawbacks, right? So they can go back and claim back that money because it's not real. It's illegal money essentially because he stole it and gave it to somebody that shouldn't be.
But all these smart people, no one does due diligence. It's like, and like I said, it keeps happening, and it's great that they hit it. They were lucky a couple times, and they had a good explosion of something. But seriously, are you kidding me? Like, they just like, we'll write you a check. No one does due diligence. Unbelievable. So
everybody gets enamored with the new siren that sort of floats around and promises, nirvana. And
oh wait, I got another one for you. Justin Bieber is going to sue Bored Apes now for his NFT that he spent $1 million on.
Yeah, well,
that
a lot
stupid is stupid.
A lot of them are being sued for that. So
yeah. Hey, we sold that one NFT for $10, so no one's suing us, so we're good. That's why we always say you got to do both. So it's terrible. And then in South Africa, your president is hanging on for dear life. It's every day in the Financial Times.
Well, that isn't the biggest story.
What's the biggest story?
The biggest story today is we know we've got the power outage issue.
Right.
And they got a guy in a couple of years ago who actually was a company man who'd run companies and kind of knew what he was doing. And they brought him in, and he's been trying to fix things. He's being told that he's trying to overthrow the government because he's obviously trying to prosecute people in the government for doing things. And today he said, right, that's it. I've had enough. About 35 minutes ago, he resigned. So I don't know what's going to happen there. What's going to happen with the power?
Did you do that especially for us, do you think?
Hmm?
Did you do that especially for us? So you resigned just before the show started?
Right before the show started, David wants to know if he did it for us.
That's right. Yes, I'm sure he did it for you, Dave. Yes, you and your friends in Nigeria, definitely did it for you.
It's
so
it's
that's
an
the big
official
news.
department, I'm told. Yeah.
That's the big news.
That's crazy.
I mean, I could go on, but we'll just kind of leave it there. There is so
And
much.
then,
in fact,
well, last week in
is so
Germany,
large, you need a scuba gear to get out of it. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say last week in Germany, people tried to overthrow the government. They arrested 31 people. Seems to be the new thing is anarchy.
No,
yeah, well, he was trying to overthrow the government by doing his job. What an idiot! He was trying to prosecute corruption. He was trying to get rid of people that were government-appointed people in this national power regulator, and it's a real problem. It goes back to previous administrations where they would just appoint people right throughout the corporation for their bidding, putting out tenders for their friends. I mean, the corruption is just up and down, left, right, you name it. And this guy came in, and it was his job to make them put them back in the black and to make them liquid. And he was doing a great job, but obviously not fast enough. And he was going after government people. And I guess they thought, well, we can't have that. So he said, I can't take it. I'm out of here. So he's gone. So it's crazy. Yeah. Wonderful. I could tell you stories. Anyway, moving on.
Please tell us stories. No, I'm just kidding. No, I was saying about Germany, not that it has any, it's like South Africa or something, but Germany, there were 31 people arrested because they were going to try to, do a Donald Trump, apparently. So that was interesting. Go ahead, John. I know you want to say something.
I was going to say, that's just, it was too, look, when you do a terrorist, as they call them, raid, you don't call the media and tell them beforehand that you're going to do it. You know, that's just a big PR piece. That's just bullshit. I don't believe a word of what they're saying that they were going to overthrow. Because the other thing is, if you're going to overthrow a government, you need to have the army behind you, and the army wasn't behind anything of this. So I say bullshit. It's just. I say PR.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's just. Well, who knows? I mean, there are certain South American countries that love a good old coup d'état.
Yeah,
all of
true.
them.
Yeah.
That wasn't done right, was it?
But
they obviously weren't true Germans, because I mean, if they really wanted to do it properly, they wouldn't have done it like that. That's for sure. It wasn't Germans behind it. It must have been somebody else.
Well, there are a lot of these. There are enclaves all over Germany with people who have the same belief as this. These are anti-vax people. These are people who, live in communes and they have their own money, etc., etc. There were people tied up in the government to do this, and I mean, it's disturbing that that the far right is on the up and up in Europe. So
I was about to say, it's not peculiar to Germany. It's not peculiar to Germany at all.
No, we have the same thing here as well. And it's interesting to see where we're going to go. It's all cyclical, I think. We had communists, then we're back to the fascists.
You come down here if you want.
What do we have there?
We have batteries.
Well,
yeah. What can I say? What can I say?
The weather's great, but it's warm. Oh, there's that.
I was going to, thank you very much. Yeah, I'm freezing my proverbials up here. We had this discussion about brass monkeys before, didn't we? So,
we did. We did.
Not that most people know what a brass monkey is, but
I think they do. I think they
What
do.
is a brass monkey?
Yes, tell us, David. What is a brass monkey?
A brass monkey, as far as I understand it to be, it is some form of stand that would be used on sailing warships, where they would put the cannonballs on to stack them up. And if it got that cold, it would freeze the balls on the brass monkey, so you wouldn't be able to get the cannonballs off the brass monkey to use them, as I understand it to be.
I see.
Wow. That's a history lesson today. I have no idea about that. That's just crazy.
I've got several bits of crap facts today to throw in.
Okay.
Because everybody seemed to be so boring, so I thought I'll do something intelligent. What about this year's winning word in the Oxford Dictionary? Are you guys genned up on that? Do you know what that is?
What is the winning
I
word?
do. I saw it. Remind me.
You saw. Yeah, it's called Goblin mode. That's the hottest statement of the year, according to the Oxford Press. And it's a slang term. Yeah, it's a slang term which describes unapologetically self-indulgent, lazy, slovenly, and greedy behavior. Also known as
Donald Trump.
And the Tory party.
Got
That come into my head. Right, there we go.
Donald Trump, President of South Africa. Most billionaires.
Let's
go.
Goblin mode. That's
Goblin mode, huh?
Yeah.
Dave.
Nice.
Sure.
Yes.
The reason I asked that, I'm pretty sure you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that you said the word or the phrase.
Well, I think it's they call it the winning word because they put it together.
Okay, because I know the big word of 2022 is gaslighting. I know that's the big word.
Yes, that's from Merriam-Webster, though.
Yeah,
that's
so.
Big.
And this is from the Oxford. There's this whole thing about who's got the hottest word because the Oxford Dictionary has it. Other bits people will jump in, and so this is there. There's Goblin mode, and everybody just said, "Yeah, that's me." I'm in Goblin mode today. Although I originally thought it.
Goblins.
What's gaslighting? I forgot the meaning of that one. What's that one?
Somebody ignores you.
Oh, okay, nice. Don't they call that ghosting though?
It's nice. Yeah, it's very friendly.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So
I like it.
there you go.
You want to know what it is?
Do I want to know what it is? Sure.
Well, it's what did you say? What did you say it was, John? Well, it's when you I don't know. You tell people they're mad until they think it's real. I don't know. You kind of stirring things up. I mean, that's what it is.
Stirring the pot. Okay.
The word you're gaslighting. Anybody else want to jump in? It's fine.
Lighting the fire. We can just move on to another subject.
I'm happy to be in Goblin mode today, mate. So,
okay.
although I think I originally saw that movie and it meant something completely different, but there you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, here's a question for everybody. Since this is almost the end of the year, so what do we think of this year, 2022? What do we think of 2023? What do we think in general? I mean, other than we watched NFTs and crypto go to wherever and now imploding, and then and all the government stuff and UFO stuff and this stuff and that stuff. Pick a topic, but so what do we think of 2022 going into 2023?
Well, you said, what do we think of 2023? It disturbed me somewhat because I thought, well, perhaps you are a time traveler, Stephen.
Oh, I'm sorry. We just got back. So, So, 2022 going into 2023, what are our thoughts on some of the major things that happen? Because everybody looks at news differently. I'm very fascinated about what's going on, if you will, the UFO stuff, as well as crypto and central banks and governments. And, it's just interesting to see where this is all going to go. And other people are interested in more what's going on with AI and tech or K-pop, so to speak, right? So what do we think? What do we think the hot stuff of 2022 is, and what do we think the hot stuff of 2023 is going to be?
Well, I think it depends on country too, Steve.
Right.
It depends on what country you're in. Obviously, some of the issues you mentioned are important, but for here where I am, the big deal is the power issue.
Right.
That's the big thing, and we've had this. We've gone around the mulberry bush on this one. We just have a bunch of people who are obviously incompetent running things here into the ground, and it's such an amazing country, and it could be done so much better. I mean, I find myself repeating this over and over again, and 2022 was just a repetition of that. What is really frustrating is that people will go back to the trough of loyalty and vote for these same people again. What do you do? I don't know. There's other issues here. We've got rugby's a big deal here, as you know. We've got our coach who decided he was going to have a go at everyone. But what I do find as someone who's lived in other parts of the world and lived here is, I don't like to believe this, but I think it might be true. I do think there is a massive level of ignorance about this place and what people think it is. People tend to get there. I know you travel, Steve, so you know, but there tends to be a massive amount of media misinformation. And I always wondered to myself, what is that? That's the question I have to ask. What is the purpose? I know there are problems here. I mean, I can joke about it, but I've lived in the UK. I was born there. I've lived in the States. There's problems there. I wouldn't say that there is a stratospheric difference in the way people think, what's important to them in any of those countries. But it just seems like people look at this continent like it's some sort of a handicapped child. And it definitely does get looked down upon, which I am quite embarrassed about, being a man of European origin. But it's definitely true. I think it is. And people make massive assertions about this place, and they've never been here. I mean, we've gone about that whole COVID thing where the scientists here found things, and they literally just shut South Africa down. We're going, but we, the sons of bitches who found it, couldn't find it. And it just goes on and on and on. So for me, that is what 2022 brought home. You suddenly feel like, it sounds very petulant, but it almost seems like they've got some issues and they point fingers at you. It does go back to the sanctions days during apartheid, when I think a lot of countries quite rightfully had an issue with the policies here. But the weird thing is, when I traveled, I would see not necessarily the same laws, but I would see the same societal problems in every country I went into that mirrored this one. So when they got rid of the laws and everybody just then left, it wasn't like anything really changed around the world. And I don't know, it became a bit of a scapegoat country. I'm not sure why. I don't know. And I think people have realized that. I think there's a massive, I don't know if you know this, but there's a very large American expat community in Johannesburg. And this is a true story. I bumped into a guy at one of these hardware stores, and someone was asking me, before he jumped in, someone said to me, we were talking about the States, and I was going on, and I was actually defending America. And I said, no, people are, they said some stupid things about the States. Why don't you get in a plane and live there for a while and then see how you feel? Otherwise, just shut your mouth. I was quite positive. I wasn't doing a New York tourism thing, but I was, by the way, that's another $1 for you. But I was certainly defending what America was about, which I kind of like, by the way. And there was a chap on the other side, an American guy, who jumped over and he says, "Oh, America's crap, man." And I went, "What?" And he had a lot to say about America and what it was and what it wasn't. And I looked at him and I said, that's just not true. "Oh, it is." And I thought, that's pretty dangerous. You've got this American fella in South Africa speaking garbage about America, and you've got a South African who lived in America who's trying to put the American right. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I have that quite often. Just by the way, in headline news. And back to the panel.
Well, I think it's not just South Africa, it's the whole continent. And I forget which president of an African country was on a 41-day tour. And they said that his 41-day tour, he's like literally been around the world. He went to the World Cup to watch his son play. And they're like, he gets $2,000 a day for 7 days. And then after that, it's supposed to come out of your own pocket, but he's charging the treasury. And I think it's things like that where people look at the continent as just all screwed up. It's like, like his prime ministers have said, and his whole Congress has said, his 41-day trip is going to do nothing to benefit the country. So I think it's not just South Africa. I think it's that whole continent has a different mentality. And I think that's part of the issue. It just seems that seems to be, people look at you go Africa and people are like, oh,
I can't argue with that. I've across the continent, that is fair comment. There are some massive examples of corruption and maladministration. Right. And I could get into a whole discussion why that has come about, but that's for another show. But I speak mainly about this country, which Michael Douglas, who once came here and said, he said it isn't a third world country and it's not a first world country. Certainly Johannesburg is like a first world country inside a third world country. It doesn't really fit in a box, and it's very difficult to define it. The name is very confusing. We should actually remove Africa from our name, because I don't think this is a particularly African country. But people just, I don't want to get on a whole tourism vibe about the place, but it could be so much more than it is. And what upsets people like me is you've got a government who did something, There was liberation, but that's gone now. Now we need some businessmen. And I think the country as a whole is realizing it. And that's why that guy resigning today from the National Power Supply Regulator is a real problem, because he was a businessman. Unfortunately, without really stirring things up, he was the wrong color. And that's the real problem. So he was addressed all the things that he was having difficulty with. The suggestion that he was causing power outages to try and overthrow the government. They turned it into this massive political thing and saying that, he was an Afrikaner and he was trying to overthrow the new government, which is, anybody with a brain knows that's absolute bollocks, by the way. But there he was. He's almost the same age as me. And he said, you know what? I'm done with this. I wasn't a part of this. I was trying to help. I was trying to fix. And he's a really good businessman, by the way. He's got a corporate background second to none. And he's done. And now we wonder, what idiot is going to take over? Is it going to be one of their stooges? And it's really sad, because it's a great country with some fantastic people. 90% of the people are fine, maybe even 95%. But it's always that 5% that screw it up for everybody else, which is frustrating. Yeah. And if you come here, you see that. Yeah. Anyway,
at some point,
Roald, coming from Argentina, I hear what you're
Nazi
saying.
Gold.
But you get the government you deserve, right? If you keep voting the same suckers that screw you all the time. In Argentina, I talk up more about Argentina, because it's you got 70 years where I wouldn't call them the socialist party, but Peronistas, they've been in power nearly 70 years. They've had two other governments and some military governments, but they've been in power nearly 70 years, and the country hasn't gotten ahead. It's just an agricultural country. The infrastructure is poor. The electricity issues is the same. They have all the things to make it a great country, but people receive a little something from them, and they vote them in, and they keep voting them in, and things get worse, and they still vote them in. So, in a way, you think that they would think differently, but it's so you voted them in. What else do you expect, right?
John, I got to tell you, as you were describing that, you could have been describing this place to a T. It's insane. And I've always said, and maybe this relates to Argentina as well, is I've always felt that South Africa has battered women syndrome, because it keeps getting beaten up by this political guy time and time again. You said they get a little something. Well, before the elections, they go out, they send their cronies, they dig some ditches, they pretend to be fixing the infrastructure, they paint some signs. It looks like they're doing something. Seriously, this is exactly what they do. The elections happen, and then they're gone, and they leave for 4 years. Every 4 years, they come back, and they do that. Now, you say people get the government they deserve. I agree with that. The problem is this country has decades, centuries maybe, of the majority of the people that were largely disenfranchised from an education point of view, from a cultural point of view. So we even though South Africa has a Western political system, the majority of the people are not Western. This is not where they come from. So the political situation is not something they don't understand. And when I say they, and I'm not being patronizing, they just don't have the background. They don't know just how powerful their vote is. And in fact, most of them vote very much along lines of loyalty, which I get. There was a terrible thing called apartheid, which was foisted on the folks here. Now that all disappeared. The ANC was the poster child that did that. Great, that's fantastic, all good. But then when you've gotten rid of the people out of the building that you didn't like, you need to run the show. You need to do it properly. And that's where they have failed. They have, instead of adopting an economic approach, they maintain the political line because it's good for votes. You can BS people with that. Economics is a lot less forgiving. Politics, you can do anything that you like. And there's a lot of kickbacks. There's a lot of help being foisted upon people. But I mentioned the battered women syndrome. So what happens is this keeps going on. South Africa gets beat up. Maybe Argentina does too. Maybe you may relate to this. Maybe any country, but particularly this one. It's beaten up. And then she says, oh, he loves me. I'm going to go back to him. He's going to change. I'm sure he loves me. I know he gave me flowers. He built some signs. It's good. Don't worry. They love me. ANC, better life for all. And then rinse and repeat, and so we go. He beats her up, and then so we go again. By the way, I'm not advocating. It's not about domestic violence. This is an analogy, just in case anybody's getting the wrong idea. But that's what we have, a cycle of societal abuse, and it's the parallels are there for everyone to see. And maybe that's what happens in other countries, but it's definitely happening here.
Yeah, it definitely happens in.
Well, you know, the hot topic here at the moment in Holland, and as I say, I can't vote here either or in the UK. But the hot topic here is saying sorry for slavery. And not only are the, Suriname and some of the islands in the Caribbean area saying to the Dutch government, you have to say sorry. They have to say sorry and pay, millions and millions or billions probably of euros in compensation. So that really
I have a question.
I
have a question about that. Then wait a second. This is where I start saying bullshit. Slavery was a terrible thing. Okay. And I don't advocate for it. I think Lincoln did a wonderful thing. Okay. So let's just get that on the table, because someone's going to say something in the comment section, and then they can go play my favorite game, which is go hide and go fuck yourself. The next part of this is that what? Why is that? Do you play that game? It's the greatest game in the world. The issue I have with the slavery stuff is the white guys didn't start it. If you look at where it started from, it would be African tribes having war, capturing the tribe they defeated, and then some white guys came along and they were like, hey, take our slaves. And then they'd be like, hey, we'll give you guns or we'll give you this. So all we did, or if you will, the Dutch, if you will, they just were profiteers. I'm sure there's some, as it got larger, I'm assuming as it got larger, then everybody, white, black, green, and purple did it. Yes, it's a horrible thing, but it's also enough.
But the Dutch don't see themselves as being slave traders. That's just it. But they were the DH. They were the logistical partner. One of the first ships.
They were the logistical. They were the Dutch West Indies Company. That they had the largest private army in the world at the time.
Yeah.
So I have enough with the apologizing crap. So here's my thing. 300 years from now, are we going to have to, they're going to apologize. Generations are going to apologize. What? Because the planet became a bunch of pussies. That's literally what we're saying. It's like, listen, we offended you. You know what? Too fucking bad. That was what you did at that point in time in history. And as we mature as a civilization, I hope we learn and we say, that was wrong. But to take down statues and to do this and do that, how do you teach the young kids this is what's wrong? Everything's not perfect. We're not in a utopia.
Well, the biggest issue here, of course, is they're asking for money. They said we want compensation, and then people here are saying we're sitting. Sorry, I'll just in a minute. We're sitting here. He said, we're sitting here in the cold. We're sitting here with massive energy
cold there
costs.
too.
We got food banks. There are got homeless issues, housing issues, etc. And the Dutch are saying, well, surely, as opposed to paying all that money for a couple of hundred years ago, that money should be used for the here and now. So sorry, Roald.
So Dave,
you had a point.
No, this is okay. I would argue this is not about slavery. This is about getting to 2022. Yes,
I agree.
The reason is if you judge people, if we judge humanity from even 50 years ago by today's standards, there's a lot of people are going to land up in jail. And when you go 100 years, it's worse. I mean, when did women get the vote? The last 100 odd years. So 300 years ago, let's just be safe here. 300 years ago.
But wait, in Texas, they got the vote last week, just so we're clear.
Well, there you go. So, but pretty much 300 years ago, just to be clear, it might be even more recent than that, it was illegal. I mean, illegal for women to vote, right? So modern women, that's half the world's population. Why aren't they screaming and shouting at every door of every man saying, we need compensation for what you did to our mothers and grandmothers and so on? Why aren't we getting paid for that? Think of the careers we could have had. We could have been leaders, politicians, educators, whatever. Why aren't you giving us money for that? We raised your families. We gave birth to you. And you gave us the vote literally 200 years ago. Before that, we were nothing. We want to get paid for that. Please grow up with the slavery crap. Slavery was shocking. We know that. But 400 years ago, it was business. That was a different time. And every single thing in humanity, things have changed. What we need to do is make sure we don't do them, build a damn monument, whatever you like. If we do slavery again, well, then, geez, sure.
Right.
You can compensate your asshole. But
China's doing slavery. If you look at,
I think
China's got slavery. China and North Korea have got slavery going on. But here, let me just wait.
Go
ahead, Jack. Go ahead.
I was going to say what Roald is saying, is what we call what they now call presentism, judging the past with today's standards. And of course, it's never gonna. You can't do that, right?
Right.
It's applying rules new rules to an old problem to judge it, and the whole compensation thing.
Let me do one better.
Are you referring to that we should have VAR for the hand of God, John? Is that what you're referring to?
No. Wait. Before we get off on a football tangent.
Sorry.
No. Stop. Wait. Let me bring this point up. Let me bring this up because your football thing sucks cock. So let me do slavery. I doubt that there were 6 million slaves traded. Maybe there were, and Dutch West Indies Company still has records, and it's all in a museum. Let's talk about the Holocaust for a second. That's 6 million Jews. You want to talk about slavery? That's slavery. Okay, we didn't kill the slaves when they brought them here, so to speak, right? We beat you, maybe you got to work in the cotton field or whatever, but you lived, if you want to call it living. Let's talk about the 6 million Jews that were one representation. That's who's paying me for that. How did the Jews, the families of all those Jews, how are they going to get paid? So tell me that. So when people complain about slavery and then people are paid about this, you know what? I don't give a fuck anymore. It's 200-300 years ago. They literally less than 80 years ago took 6 million people, whether they're Jews or not, 6 million people. And because you're Jews, nobody gives a fuck, by the way. They took 6 million people, put them into ovens and camps and whatever, and killed them. So who's writing the checks there? Of all the families and all what they could have been, if you will, doctors and lawyers and who's doing that? Nobody.
We spoke earlier on about the coup d'etat in Germany. There are still large swathes of people in Europe who are Holocaust deniers.
Oh, I'm aware.
So and while that argument is still raging, none of it will be will be cleared up. So
I mean, that's my whole thing. It's like, so who's compensating them? So listen, the only African American, and we talked about this on a show, is really Elon Musk, right? He's born in Africa, and he is. I think he's an American citizen. He's an African American. The black people in America, I don't want to be rude. Your ancestral is you're African. I give you that. I'm Jewish. I don't run around going, I'm a Jewish American. I was born in America. I'm an American. Where you're born is what you are. If you want to say you're something else, that's awesome. But if the people that you do the interviews or talk to you don't call you an African American, or they don't call you a black this or a white this, or why can't you all just be human beings? And the next part is, where are you from? That's cool. And if you have an ancestry somewhere, that's really cool. But at the end of the day, this is what's dividing everybody. They're all like, look what happened to us. Look what happened to us. Really? Fuck you. Look what happened to the Jews. And then they have no argument to that, and it's like, I don't remember them gathering all your people in a 3-year period and throwing them in ovens and killing them. So
Steve, what about the Japanese?
Internment camps here, same thing. They're not compensating the American government, as far as I know, has never compensated the Japanese families that they interred here during World War II. Same thing, but we didn't kill them though.
Yeah, look,
you
Stalin killed 30 to 40 million of his own.
Stalin made Hitler look good.
Like a schoolboy. But that's my whole point. Because people don't know, and we've talked about this with Roald on the show. Just because they don't know history, they've never read a book in their life, right? They watch some bullshit History Channel shit, which is crap. They don't read a real history book, or they don't do any real research. They see something on TikTok or Facebook or even YouTube. They don't read. So they don't know that, like a Stalin, this decimated 30 to 40 million people. They're like, ooh, Hitler. So the people in Russia, they're not going to compensate. Like, we already know that. Like, Putin's not doing shit. Like, that's moved to the side. Kind of like Germans aren't going to do anything for the Jews. Just like the U.S. government's not going to do anything for the Japanese. But most people don't even know that. And the way they dumb down history now with the kids in school, these kids don't know shit. Like I talk to my stepson, I go, what did they teach you? And he talks to me. I'm looking at him like, what the fuck is this crap that they're teaching you? Like nothing. Like you will have no, but you have to look at the past to make sure it doesn't happen in the future. There's no past for them to look at. And I think that's an issue. And I think we've got to go back to, in a way, the old school where you had social studies and you had history and you had government and like they really teach kids. What do they teach them today? Here's a tablet, Johnny. Good luck. That's bullshit. And at universities, they don't teach them shit anyway. So I don't know. That's my opinion. What do I know?
Dave, where's this compensation being called from? Which countries? Which people? What countries? Who's
All
asking for this compensation? Where are they
All
from?
from David Stoller from New York.
It's from from Suriname and the Dutch-controlled Caribbean islands, or what,
Anybody from Africa
some of them
asking for compensation? Just to, I'm
Yeah,
just
you know, people
wondering.
like no.
Anyone in Africa asking for compensation that you know of?
No.
Just wondering.
But yeah, as I say, this is we're talking about 2022. This is what that, and on a more lighthearted side, of course, the World Cup.
Yeah.
But,
That's not lighthearted. Are you kidding? That's so
Yeah.
much controversy with the people that are dying and the people that are the housing conditions for the workers. You're going to talk about the hand of God and VAR and all that crap. That's fine. That's who cares? I mean, you can talk about it because just to watch John get excited about it, it'll be fun. We were talking about real thing. We're talking about dead people because I see them.
No, it's the thing is,
well, if you're seeing dead people, there's something wrong, Stephen.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, I mean, we talk about corruption and not doing it again, and when something bad happens, I want to do something so that this never happens again. I think people forget that humans just keep doing these things. Just reading it in a book is not going to stop a lot of people from doing bad things. So
yeah, but you got to have a memory of the bad thing, because if you don't, then you don't know. Like when history looks back, say 50 or 100 years from now, they're going to look at what Trump did. They're going to be that was horrible. I'm assuming they will. I don't know. If you look back at some things, it's just you got to have a basis or a foundation. And I don't know like how the schools are, if you will, in South Africa, or you want to take out the word Africa, so how they are in the South. But I'm not sure without a basis or a foundation how that prepares a young person to go out into the world. And how do you deal with people? And then if you get somebody who's well read and they speak to you, then what do you look at them like the RCA dog? I mean, like if you don't understand World War I or World War II or the War of 1812 or the Civil War, or you go back to like Genghis Khan's period, or you understand some of the Chinese stuff, or you understand what happened, with the Dutch West Indies companies, you understand like King George, like all this stuff. And there's money, more mix up where we are today. But if you don't understand it, how do you move forward? You just get history repeats itself because people are stupid.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where we're heading.
Yes.
Yeah. Apparently.
Yeah.
Well, here's something.
Proof of that.
Yeah. Well,
but I wanted to move on to something slightly more lighthearted because it's actually something that I don't understand. And so here we go. So you've got 4 cars. That's an automobile for those people who don't know what a car is. 4 cars that come to a 4-way stop.
There we go.
Each coming from a different direction.
Okay.
They all decide who will go first. Oh, sorry, they can't decide who will go first. So they all move forward at the same time. All 4 cars move forward, but none of them crash. How's that possible?
A roundabout.
Can I repeat that?
Nice. A roundabout.
A roundabout. I got you.
Yeah. All 4 cars come to a 4-way stop.
No, 4-way stop, John. That's not a roundabout.
Oh, that's easy.
No, roundabouts have 4. Wait, 4 roundabouts do have 4-way stops.
I can answer that.
Sure.
Go on then.
Well, who says it's the same 4-way stop?
They all decide who they can't decide who will go first, so they all go forward at the same time. All 4 cars go, but none of them crash into each other.
Because they're all making left turns.
The riddle is they're all making right-hand turns.
Yeah, close enough. That's fine. There you go. If they all could make left-hand turns, the same thing would happen.
Yeah. Only it's
Yeah,
not
there you
written
go.
on my piece of paper, Stephen. So
I won.
So you're.
Woohoo!
Well, no, you didn't because you gave the wrong answer. But I've got another one. I've
Listen,
got another
left,
one for
right,
you.
all the same crap. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. He's in American politics. Anyway. Okay. So a man goes out for a walk during a storm with
Okay.
nothing to protect him from the rain. He doesn't have a hat. If you want to get ahead, get a hat. My grandmother used to tell me. He doesn't have a hat or a hood or an umbrella. But at the end of the walk, there isn't a single wet hair on his head. So why hasn't the man got wet hair?
He's bald.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an easy one for you, Stephen. Yeah.
No, that was for John, I assume. Anyway, sorry, John.
As simple as that. As simple as that.
Okay.
So that's me out for all the light-hearted side of it.
Wait, I have a question for John though, because then this is a plug. So, John, I heard you went to Dim Sum Darling after the dentist. So, tell me, did you like the food?
Yes, I like I got
take it home.
dumplings.
Yeah. Did you like the dumplings?
Yeah, dumplings were good. I did learn some facts about the dumplings. I don't know if you want me to reveal them here.
But we stuff them with small children? No, don't reveal that. That's a horrible thing.
Dumpling facts? Dumpling facts?
We have dumpling facts. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted, because John went to Dim Sum Darling and is eating the food there. And so I wanted to see what John, by the way, that's at 135 West 50th Street in New York. Anyway, got New York and again.
Yeah, I sat with Cheryl and we chatted and, of course, then I had to rush back home to watch the semifinals.
God forbid that you didn't watch the World Cup.
Yeah,
I like watching
it comes
John,
4 times every 4 years.
4 years, I know.
We've been to we've won it twice. We've been runners up 4 times.
Can I ask a question? When you say we've won it, did you play in it? Or did you mean your team won it? When people go, we won. I'm like, you didn't do jack shit. You sat on the couch and watched television. So
the Argentine team representing
he meant that they
country.
cheated.
Yeah.
They meant that they cheated with the hand of God.
You cheated. All right, so let's go to this hand of God thing you guys keep talking about. For you people that don't really give a shit, I apologize. But this is about FIFA, the World Cup, and they're using VR, AR to do whatever on I guess.
Well, we had another hand of God, or a hand of Son of God, because Messi had a quite clearly a handball in the game, and he didn't get a yellow or a red for that.
Yeah.
And that was an excellent game against the Dutch. I mean, I loved it because I don't support the Dutch, but Annette was seriously not talking to me after that. But how many? Paul, I think 19. He has like the record as the most yellow cards. He even gave yellow cards to people that were sitting on the bench.
Wow!
And other trade.
Can you do that?
And I think one. Yeah. Oh, you can. Yeah.
Right.
And so now FIFA sent him home because they said that's a little bit too much.
Yeah.
And
interesting.
Yeah, the hand of God. I don't know. I'll let Dave, describe the events of 1986. In Mexico.
Yeah. Well, I think
it was Argentina, England.
Yeah, Diego Maradona. Whatever you think about the hand of God, was without any way, shape, or form probably the best footballer ever. But he was also the master of the dark arts, and he appeared. This was before VAR. This is when they had like 3 cameras and a dog watching the game, as opposed to the like 50 that you've got now everywhere. And he appeared to then just head the ball past the England goalkeeper, but the goalkeeper saw it and the defenders saw it. That he quite it was a blatant handball, but it was sort of the way that he did it and he moved with it. And so that became known as the hand of God. And he denied it for quite a few years, didn't he, John? And then afterwards he just said, well, I think he gave it the terminology that the hand of God. So never forgive the Algies for that.
Yeah.
So let me ask this one last.
And then Argentina went to the final and won. So that was
even more painful.
They were more
painful. All right, so I'm going to ask this question because John's going to roll his eyes. So let's talk about UFOs and UAPs really quick, Because like yeah, there we go. So John, you a believer or you're not a believer? Because I think there's been a lot of stuff coming out, and I think there's going to be more stuff coming out. I think everyone's going to be shocked.
I don't
If
know.
you believe like what Graham Hancock says about,
I'm,
we've been
I'm
around
not,
for millions and millions of
I'm
years.
not, I'm
Are you
looking to
agnostic?
be convinced. Yeah, yes.
Okay.
I'm sure there's something out there.
Right.
It seems, but I'm.
Yeah, let's hope it's called the VAR.
Yeah.
But what about like all these sightings that go back like thousands and thousands of years, or even the Vatican painting from 1543 that has a UFO in it? Like they didn't have ships like that. So and then
You've been
things along
watching
those lines.
ancient aliens.
No, it's actually there's actually another book called Missing Time, and in Missing Time, it's all about how newspapers take out UFO stories because the government's asked them and how people in the government actually work. There's a whole bunch of stuff on it. I'm just curious because I think we're seeing a lot of stuff coming now, and I'm just wondering, like, believers, not believers, or we all want more.
Yeah, I'm sure there's something there. I just want to see something so we can concretely prove that. Look,
right,
we're being.
Oh,
watched.
So the TikTok video didn't prove it for you?
I don't go on TikTok, so
No, the TikTok video of the UFO. They called the UFO a TikTok that went from the bottom of the surface of the ocean up to 80,000 feet in a second. That didn't prove it for you?
No, I didn't see that. Yeah, so
you need to go to YouTube and look up TikTok UFO and let me know what you think after that. Then it was in all the newspapers and like made major news for 3 years. But don't worry about that, John. It's good that you stay up with the hand of God.
Well, look.
Well, that's the most important thing there is. I mean,
for you guys, apparently.
Yeah.
Look,
I mean,
what do you think?
I mean, we've got this soccer bromance going, John and I.
I know. I've heard you guys text each other privately.
Yeah.
When you're in your underwear.
Yeah, publicly, he derides me, but privately, it's a far more.
There you go.
Mr. Woods, what do you think about this subject of UFOs? Forget the hand of God thing. So.
Oh, you should call him His Royal Highness, of course.
Yes, exactly. You noticed that, right?
I saw the HRH. Yes, I saw that.
I've only just seen it, to be honest. But how long have we been on this show?
57 minutes. I saw it when he first came on. Yes, His Royal Highness.
I'm dyslexic, so I don't hear all this stuff.
So you asked me what I think about it. Well, when I was a kid, I used to be absolutely fascinated by UFOs and so forth. My father said he had seen something. There was a report of something that landed in Cape Town, and some guy ran out with a shotgun and shot at it, and it flew off. I'm not sure, Steve. I don't know. I like to think, almost like to think there is something. It's what actually got me into astronomy when I was a kid. I wanted to find these things. Well, I mean, one of my favorite movies of all time is Contact with Jodie Foster and Matthew McConaughey, which is about that very, very subject, the search for extraterrestrial life. And it's fantastic. It's a very romantic idea. We don't want to feel like alone. Otherwise, what do they say? It's the universe is a hell of a waste of space. I don't know. You feel like mathematically there must be something out there. But I always thought to myself, if it was that intelligent that it could get from there to here, I feel it would probably do a better job of not being detected. That's always been my concern. I always thought they're not going to come in some saucer-shaped thing. If they can get here, they've got some serious tech. So I would imagine they don't want anybody to know that we're here. They were here.
Right.
So here's the simple answer to the question. Do I have a belief in that? I think they're there, but I don't think we'll know about them. The ones that are real, I don't think we'll know about them because they are able to not have us see them. That would be in their interests. Why would they come along with their primitive little source and go, oh, look, we're jumping around. Take your TikTok videos of us. I don't know. I think that's a bit media friendly, and it's too media friendly. But I think there's something. I like to think there's something, but I don't think that's it.
So they're here, but they're here and they're lizards. Is that what you're trying to say, Roald?
Lizards. I don't know why everybody goes
lizard people.
Lizards.
Oh, that's a whole nother show. Lizard people.
No, I know about the lizards. Yeah, I'm just being otherwise. Yeah, but no, I think there are plenty of human beings that are fully functioning lizards already. So I think we got a few of those. That's fine.
Yeah, those Argentinian people. That's why we got John. So
I must say.
That's too funny.
I will say this before I go. John,
Yeah.
I think I would say, what 3 teams are left? There's Argentina, there's Morocco, and France.
Argentina, and at 2 p.m. Eastern time
Yeah.
here, it's Brazil, Morocco. No, sorry.
I think you mean France, Morocco.
France, Morocco.
I think you mean France, Morocco, yes.
France, Morocco.
That'll be a good game.
Yeah.
I think so, and I think it'll be better. I mean, I'm not dismissing Morocco. Everyone here is going on about Morocco getting into the final because obviously it's an African nation. But I think France should probably overcome, and I think you're going to see Argentina and France, and hopefully, strangely enough, I wish the best for Argentina. They've had some really bad luck in the World Cup, so we'll see.
Oh, really?
I think
So when
it's
the
time.
finals on the 18th.
Hobson's choice.
The finals on the 18th, and we're
So we
recording
choose
this show.
between
It's on the
Argies
14th.
and Argies or the French, you know.
John, who do you think is going to be in the finals? Because you really watch this scrap more than all of us.
Well,
Argentina for one.
Well, yeah,
Argentina and France.
Yeah.
I think
Argentina and France, it would be the logical, but strange things can happen. These are very motivated guys. They're gonna have a lot of energy. If they can stop some of the two French boys, Giroud and Mbappe, maybe they can pull a miracle. It's.
So, John, who's going to be in the final?
We will have to see it later this
What a
afternoon.
pussy! What a pussy! All right. Well, you said Argentina and France. Is that your answer?
I would have said Argentina and France. Yeah.
All right, David.
Yeah.
Who do you think?
I think I'd have to agree with that. But like I say, it's Hobson's choice for me because we hate the French as much as we hate the Argies. So.
Wow.
Yeah, we just.
What's wrong with the Argies?
Can Morocco make it to the final?
Yeah, they could.
By beating the French.
Okay.
By beating the French. We'll be in house here. We will be supporting Morocco.
All right. So
one thing,
and of course, just whatever happens, we won't be supporting Argentina. Just to piss John off.
Because it's John.
Well, sorry, John. I'll be supporting you.
I'm all for the Nazi gold people. So I'm going to say Morocco, you can't say Nazi gold anymore? Okay, anyway. So the Nazi gold people is Argentina. We already know that because that's where John keeps all his Nazi gold. And
John was saying Stephen, do you remember John was saying how poor everybody is?
In Argentina, that's because they have all the gold all buried under that. They're afraid to take it out.
How the hell does 40,000 Argentinians fly 18,000 miles?
I know, right?
To go, because they're poor.
So that's the U-boat submarines from back in the day. They all got in the submarine, and that's how they got there. And how did they pay for stuff? Nazi gold.
Argentina, until very recently, had the second largest Jewish community in the world outside of Israel. So
wait. Until recently, so what are you trying to tell me, David? John. What are you saying? Exactly.
I think someplace else now has more.
Okay. Yeah, probably Israel or New York. Hey, here's another thing.
Outside of Israel,
Israel just said today that they're going to let people with criminal records now run for parliament. I was like, we're talking.
That's good. That's good because I got a police record walking on the moon. I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah. There you go. I like it. So anyway. you could be Jewish from politics. So can I say Morocco and Argentina? Is that possible for Morocco to play Argentina?
Sure, of course.
Yeah.
That's my prediction. It's Morocco, Argentina.
Steve, I know you know a little bit about sports, but in a tournament where you have two semifinals and one's already been played and then there's already a winner.
Well, I didn't know who won.
Yeah,
that's why I'm asking.
Would I be talking like this if Argentina hadn't won?
Okay.
John,
good point,
the news hasn't filtered down to Texas, mate.
No. We're still we have a little gerbil that runs to keep the power going here, and he's on break.
I've got a feeling the Pony Express hasn't got down there yet with the news.
That's true. Yeah, Wells Fargo will be here. They'll be here shortly. I think.
God.
So it'll be very cool. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to say Morocco and Argentina, just to be different.
All right.
Okay.
Because
that would be
if France gets it, then I can say I told you so. And if it's France and Argentina, then of course you guys are right. So there you go.
Yeah, but Morocco, Morocco against France today, of course, it's that talking about slavery and colonialism.
Yeah, that would be huge.
There's an underlying current in that as well. So
but Dave.
Yes.
If you look at the French team, it's a question of spot the European. So they're basically an African team.
Well,
So,
you could
boom.
say the same. You
Africa
could say
playing
the same
Africa.
about the Dutch team as well. So
Yeah. And
yeah,
UK sort of
I-
a little bit too.
yeah,
England.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but luckily,
At least the
we're
Argentinian team have Argentinians in them.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's
you know,
funny
Good
because
point.
we had
there's
we
that.
had this discussion last night in house. We said, well, he's a funny looking South African guy. He's got bright blue eyes, and the other guy's got bright blue eyes and blonde hair. Yes.
You got
And
it. You got it. You gotta love it.
There's an Argentinian guy who plays, who's quite good actually, plays for Aston Villa, called McAllister. I thought, well,
Yes.
that's an Argentinian name that I've ever
Yeah. Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
This is
McAllister.
awesome.
Look, if you go to Argentina and you
They're a
and you,
multicultural.
We're
country.
not
Come
going
on.
to Argentina, John.
if you read if you look at the football teams, you have News Old Boys,
Right, Nazi gold.
River Plate,
the River Plate.
Wow.
Yeah.
which used to be called Gold Plate, but they threw it in a
Good.
river.
I rest my case. Old boys, boys of Brazil, gold plate. Now new. Yeah, see, all Nazi gold.
Boca Juniors. Right.
That's
That's
just
another one.
I see goose stepping right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is Boca anyway? So
Yeah.
is that a place or?
Yeah, it's a part of it's a neighborhood in Buenos Aires.
Okay, but
Yeah.
you have to be small to join the team, I suppose, as a junior.
Yeah.
Do you also have Boca seniors or?
No, that's the name of the team, Boca Juniors Football Club.
Okay.
You know.
You got to goose step them when they're young, David. Got to get them going.
News Old Boys.
But you still have. I mean, joking apart, there are still some German enclaves, are there not, in Argentina, where old German is spoken on a daily basis?
Not really, not much. No.
John can't say. He has signed
in the
an
50s,
NDA.
yes.
So
I would. There were, but those colonies have just those.
I found them.
Townships.
I found them.
The
Dave.
townships have kind of disappeared. There's several though, because in the Financial Times they did a whole report on it about a year ago, where there's still, I think, one or two that are still like you go back in time, and a lot of them, if they trace their lineage, it's to a lot of the high command of the old Nazi party back in the 30s and 40s. It was an interesting article. One of them is a doctor, and I forgot whose son. He was the son of one of the top six. It was really interesting to read the article, and you know, the reporter said it was just an eerie feeling going into the town. There's like maybe a couple thousand people, but everyone knows each other. They're all, you know, they're all.
Oh, we got several places like that in Holland. But yeah, they've all got web feet, 6 fingers. So yeah,
nice. Lizard people, thank God. Guys, this has been a blast. And any night, so this show is going to air kind of like right before the holidays. So we want to say anything to our listeners, and then we're going to do the first, just so everybody knows. Wait, just before everybody, on New Year's Day, we have a show coming out with Mr. Woods and a Kimchi Chick and us two old guys to talk about K-pop. Yeah, we're going to record that next week for January 1st. That's our K-pop show. Because Raul's daughter, or His Royal Highness, his daughter, which would be a princess apparently, has a K-pop fetish. So he has studied up on it, so we can talk about K-pop. John, we'll invite you if you want to talk about K-pop. But if not, that K-pop show will be coming out on January 1st. That is season 2 of Two Old Farts.
Season 2.
And Apple, we're everywhere. Apple Podcasts, we're on Apple now. So you guys can listen to our podcast on Apple. Who knew?
You should have the little subscribe button so that people can.
We do. We have a subscribe and like below. But yeah, we have 12 loyal global followers. We're very excited about those subscribers. And, you know, one day we hope to get to 13, and then we're going to have a party. So just so we're clear.
All right.
And I can tell nobody noticed I changed my hat. So David's going
Two
to
Old Farts. The best way to think as little as possible.
Is that it, David?
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
Guys, it's always good to see you. We wish everybody a happy, healthy holiday, whatever you celebrate, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, Christmas, or whatever makeup holiday you'd like. Well, if you're Jewish, you already had your New Year, but celebrate with the
Yeah.
Gentiles because it's fun. And
Yeah.
if you're not Jewish, celebrate and enjoy. Everyone be safe. And we'll see, I guess, everybody in 2023.
All right.
That's
Well,
it. Two
Ciao.
guys, two old guys. A lot of BS and more drivel than you can shake a stick at. Steve and Dave. God help us.
Good night, Gracie.
Bye-bye.